This is Blitz, a local multiplayer sword combat sports game inspired by Nidhogg, where two sides battle to get to the opposite side of each level. You will have to defeat your enemies in the starting arena for your team to gain the offensive, and then make it to the goal without your team completely dying. Otherwise, the offensive flips to the other team. You can choose a tense game of 1v1 or up to a chaotic 3v3. If this sounds interesting to you, use the link in the description to check out the Steam page where you can wishlist it. I played Nidhogg years ago. Its tug-of-war gameplay was novel and interesting. You could fight your way toward winning only for your opponent to get the upper hand and land you both back in the middle with a constant struggle for dominance. But I always wished it offered more than a 1v1 mode, and I felt there was ample room to augment the tug-of-war element of the game and take any one player's lead and pull them back to the status quo. I had a few different ideas of how the combat could go, starting with a fairly traditional top-down perspective. I designed it to have typical hack-and-slash combat. It was fine, however in playtesting it felt like it was too easy for a player on the offensive to run past a defending player. The transition from a 3D space compared to Nidhogg's 2D space enabled more opportunities for the offensive players to easily avoid defensive players. To solve this, I wanted to make the job of defending easier. I took the sword and attached it to the character as a constant. It covered more ground and provided opportunities for skillful play. My first approach was to make a physics-based sword. Akin to something like Gang Beasts, the flow of combat would be chaotic, perfect for casual play. But with more playtesting, players ultimately wanted more control of their sword. So we landed on a control scheme where you have a button to spin clockwise and another to spin counterclockwise, and a joystick to move. Players that spin launch other players away if they are not spinning as fast, and vice versa. However, spin uses up stamina, and once it runs out, you cannot spin and you move at half the speed. However, spinning isn't always the best option. If you can time it right, you can poke your opponent as they have their back to you. It's risky because if they hit your sword, you'll be launched and possibly land off stage or into another player's sword. Once you make your way to the end of the level, you score. However, with each point, your opponent gets to pick a power-up to help them catch up. To keep it fair, the pool of power-ups available to choose from, though random per match, will be the same for both teams. This can lead to tense matches where teams are constantly neck and neck, aided by these helpful assists. And that's the gist of the gameplay. There will be levels with different layouts, obstacles, and platforms that will add an additional layer to the game. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Feel free to subscribe for updates. Have a good one.